Sean, take a puff and pass it to your friend.
Please don't have this have consequences. Welcome back to Life is Strange 2. Last time we played, we did our job at the farm, if you know what I mean. We came back, we did our chores. We are going to the lake with Daniel? Sure, that sounds right. We're doing something with our brother.
Living large and humbled.
Oh, that's right. We were training our brother. Gosh, I'm obviously a fantastic sibling right now. So, Daniel's done with the dishes. He is at the lake. Power generator. These trees, I cannot get over how big they are. I've never been to the redwoods, but I suppose this would be how big they are. Daniel! Where are you? Don't surprise me. Don't play a prank. Let's not do this. This does sound like a forest.
Okay. Time to help Daniel do some power training. He's waiting at the lake.
With like the Power Rangers? That was a bad joke. I'm sorry. Is the Power Rangers still airing? They had that movie not too long ago. Skipping rocks. He never quite got it, did he? Oh. I mean...
Sweet.
That's kind of different.
But can you do it without your power?
Yeah.
Well, you never bothered to teach me, so I found my own technique.
Child, I tried. Okay, I tried. Apparently, if I kept going, we would have gotten there. But I did try. That feels unfair to say I never bothered. Like, that implies... We talk about that wording. That implies... I guess when I think of that, I think of, like, parents who are just, like, too incredibly busy. Or anybody, I guess, who's too incredibly busy to, like, take the time out, to, like, carve the time out to make the time for somebody. That's not what happened. We had the time. We made the time. That's not quite what happened. We didn't make the time to go back and, like, continue to reteach, but there were also very understandable reasons why that didn't happen. It's not just, like, we were too busy with work or school or whatever. I also noticed that, like, I'm getting defensive about my own choices as a player as I play this. Anyways.
Onward. Ready to rumble?
Sean isn't.
Fucking A.
Sean isn't getting defensive about that. Team Howl first, or let's train on the other side? I want to build up more of a relationship with Daniel, so like Team Howl first.
Let's start with our Team Howl. T.S. Lobos.
Come on. We don't have time for that.
Wow.
So, let's go. I'm ready.
Hold up. Too many people over there. Let's hit the other side.
So either way we would have like gone to the other side, because that was my thought with going to the other side of the lake was this idea of more privacy. It was more about like how I've kind of been playing the game up until this point. Like, let's keep the power secret. Let's keep it secret. Let's keep it hidden. But now I want to kind of change gears a bit and build up more of a relationship with Daniel. But when I try that, he's technically, if we look at the age of these kids, Sean is the teenager, but he's very much playing the role of the adult. And Daniel is now acting more like a teenager, where it's like almost like the eye roll, like when you're a parent trying to like connect with your teenager and your teenager wants fucking none of it. You get like the eye rolls, you get like the, oh my gosh, you're so stupid. It's like those kinds of things. That's what this feels like, where it's like, I'm trying to connect with you, kid. And the kid's like, I'm a teenager. What the fuck are you doing? Like, that's what this feels like, where it's like, wow, cool, good to know. I was trying. Well, I guess there's nothing else we can look at here. Oh, we're just gonna ask him to lift this up, or we can climb over. Please let me just climb over.
The other side of that log looked secluded enough to be out of sight.
You can see past the log. If we can see past the log right now, I don't think it's that secluded. I'm just saying.
Hey, can you move that tree trunk?
Duh.
The duh sounds like a teenager, too. I really wish we could have just climbed.
Hey!
Your face! Come on. I wasn't gonna drop it on you.
Very funny, man.
Wish I could have just climbed over it. So, like, we have this prank. That's how Daniel sees it. It's like, oh, it's just a prank. Like, I wasn't actually gonna do it. But pranks kind of fall under this joke of being of jokes. Huh. English. Pranks fall under this category of jokes, and jokes are supposed to be funny. That's kind of the point of a joke. And I don't get me wrong, we can have bad jokes. I make bad jokes all the time. But it's not a joke when it's at the expense of someone else. And we see this all the time with people who make jokes and they how do I word this? English. We see this when we hear these jokes where it's not really a joke, where someone says that it's a joke to basically cover up the fact that they've said something that's not socially appropriate, where there's some kind of an insult or some kind of bigotry that was said, and then they cover it up by saying this, oh, it was just a joke, like you're being too sensitive, like things like that. And so when we hear that, potentially all the time, we have a hard time telling what a joke actually is. Like, are jokes these kinds of defense mechanism type comments that we use to throw over something that wasn't appropriate? Or are jokes these things that are actually funny? Or are jokes like these pranks? We have a hard time telling what is a joke and not a joke. And this type of a prank where it's really at the expense of someone else doesn't feel like a joke. It doesn't feel like an actual prank. I mean, like, I guess technically it is a prank, but it's not actually funny, therefore it's not a real joke. It just feels mean. It's not a nice thing to do to someone. Just because other people may laugh at it doesn't mean that it's a good joke. Because people laugh at mean things all the time. If we look at something and we say, oh, well, it's proof. Here's proof that it's a joke. Here's how we know it's a joke, right? And if we look at it and say, oh, well, someone laughed, that means we know it's a joke. People laugh at mean things all the time. That isn't proof or evidence that something is a joke. So this prank, like, I look at this and it feels like it's this weird kind of representation of how Daniel may see other people and like their value and how he should be treating other people. And this is something that doesn't actually show up in our real world because we don't have powers. Be an interesting world if we did, but because Daniel has powers, I feel this strong urge to like really teach you, or him, to really teach Daniel, like, don't be a dick. Don't do pranks like this. Don't do that kind of stuff, because there can be grave consequences for that stuff, which we've seen already at this point in the game. But if these pranks continue on, how much more will that happen? I guess is how I look at it. Because if we find something funny, we're going to keep doing it. Even Sean kind of had a look on his face like, yeah, that was funny. Makes me wonder if they are going to actually be together for the entire game, or if Sean might break away from Daniel.
Let's see what he can do with multiple targets now.
Oh, I think he'll do just fine.
Think you can lift all those?
I know I can.
It's what he does with them after he lifts them that I'm more concerned about. Because, like, he can lift the tree, but what does he do with it once it's in the air? That's what I'm more concerned about. Because he's capable of such beauty.
Whoa, Daniel. That's amazing.
Come on.
But
Find
he's
something
also
else.
capable of such destruction at the same time.
Daniel likes pine cones. Let's have a little fun with those.
Is Daniel why we have so many fucking pine cones in our bag? Train precision. Control
Pick a rock.
precision. What's the
Any
mushroom
rock.
for then?
Okay. And
Let's test your aiming system. Target in sight.
locked and loaded.
I forgot how to throw.
Awesome. Okay,
It's like those things
You're
they
good.
throw
now
and people shoot
let's
at.
spice things up a bit.
Bring it on.
Over there!
Holy shit. That was not a fair fight.
That's right. What's next? I told you I rule.
Such a kid. Like the whole I rule and you rule, and I'm sure there's more to that, but I've forgotten it.
Ew. These need a little harvest.
So what are we teaching with this? Oh, train destruction. Can we not? I think he has that one down already. Is there something else that we can do? Can we train kindness and compassion and empathy and...
Way too open here. Gotta find a more... We're out of sight here. Should be safe.
But we can't train kindness and compassion and empathy and respect? Oh, fuck, I have to do the destruction. Sure I can't just do the rocks again? God. Fine.
Let's try this. I want you to focus on these ugly mushrooms and blow them apart.
Dude, I'll blow the shit out of that.
You sure we want that?
I'm waiting. Or maybe you... What the?
Yeah, I think he has that down.
That was some next level shit, Daniel.
I can do anything now.
Hey, don't go crazy. This is still a secret.
I really hope that I have not been playing this game to where it's like, this is our super villain origin story. Please don't be that. Please. I don't need that. We don't need that. Not today, Daniel. Not today. Didn't tell anyone or still have to be careful. Still have to be careful?
You still have to be careful with it, man.
You always want it both ways. Use it, then don't.
We just have to make sure you can control it.
Well, it's my power, not yours. Whatever.
I mean, he's right. Because I spent so many choices where I was like, don't use it, don't use it, don't use it, like just ad nauseum. And then with the grandpa, I was like, oh, don't want him hurt, use it, right? Because there's no clear, we have no way of knowing exactly which choices are going to lead to somebody possibly being hurt or unhurt. Right? But that one was a very clear choice. And so of course, if there's a clear choice where it is easy to know that using the power here could prevent someone from being hurt or getting killed, like, of course I'm going to make that choice. And I really wish there was a choice here where I could validate that, where I could say, you're right. Like, I really wish that I could own that and say, like, you're right. I have been going back and forth, like having it be more of a conversation, because I don't feel like Sean has had that conversation with Daniel where he has basically said, like, you're totally right. Like, that can be confusing, or maybe that feels like a fuck up. Like, I don't know. I'm figuring this shit out too. I'm just doing what I think would be helpful for you, but I also don't want people hurt. Like, you know, and almost like have a conversation with this. And this is the kind of thing that is so incredibly helpful to hear from parents. When we have parents who never apologize, who never say that they're sorry, who act like they are always right all the time. Because that's what we're talking about. We're talking about Sean basically saying, I'm sorry. I am sorry that this has been confusing for you. I'm sorry about, it's weird to say, because I feel like I'm also saying I'm sorry for helping our grandpa or encouraging you to help our grandpa. Because I don't think I'm sorry for that. I think I'm sorry more for just constantly insisting on not using the powers. That's what I'm sorry for. But when we have parents who just never say sorry, who insist that no matter what, they are always right because they are the parent, that is incredibly hurtful in the long run for us as people, because then we feel like our feelings are never validated. Like, we are never validated and we're never talked to as people. And that is so incredibly hard. And I feel like that is what's happening here. And we don't have a choice on that. We can't just like sit down and have a conversation with Daniel and say, like, you're right. I have been going back and forth. I'm really sorry about that. And honestly, Daniel is aware enough where we could probably have a conversation with him and say, what do you want to do from here on out? And I feel like when we have that conversation as parents, there's still some amount of boundaries that we set with that. Because, you know, if a kid's like, well, I want to have dessert every day for every meal of the day. Cool. Heard that. Totally get that. But I can't do that. So it's this idea of like hearing them and like their ideas, but then also setting like reasonable rules about that. But it's this idea of like making kids feel heard, like they're people. That to me is the most frustrating thing about this right now, is there's no choice that basically says, I'm sorry. I'm super sorry. Chill the fuck out, or what's wrong with you? Well, I'm not going to say chill the fuck out. What's wrong with you? Oh, I don't like that either.
What's wrong with you, man?
This feels better than saying chill the fuck out.
Emo Daniel.
He's growing up.
You keep throwing attitude at me for no reason. Sick of it.
Am I a bad big brother, or Finn is a bad influence? Oh, shit. Oh. I don't feel like throwing Finn under the bus is a great idea here. Because, like, Finn is helpful for Daniel right now, and he's not inherently bad. I don't feel like throwing knives at Daniel's age is a great choice, but it's not inherently bad. The way that we're phrasing things isn't great, but Sean's still a kid. He's never learned these things. I feel like asking about us, like, if I'm doing something bad, how can I fix it? That feels like a better choice. Ooh, am I a bad big brother?
Am I a bad big brother? Because I hang out with other people?
That's not,
You're
nope.
always with them. That sucks.
Oh, come on, Daniel.
Bet you don't even want me around anymore.
Don't say that. You know it's always you and me, and I know.
I mean, never mind.
That's it. Enough.
What?
You're being a brat.
Oh, let's not.
Can't say anything without you having a shit fit. We're family. We still have a long way to go. And we have to go together. Right?
I
I
mean,
know it sucks,
he doesn't have to.
but you have to grow up now.
Oh.
Daniel, stop it! Stop it, Daniel! No!
So you have Daniel, who desperately still wants to hang out with his older brother. Because it's the only family he has left, and his older brother desperately still wants independence.
I'm not a kid anymore.
I don't feel like I'm supposed to laugh at that. Like, we have this massive demonstration of power and ability. But when your emotional reactions are very much that of a kid, like inherently, by choosing to prove that you're not a kid the way you did, you're proving that you still are a kid. That to me is what cracks me up. And to be fair, I think we do this a lot as teenagers, as kids, where we just desperately want to grow up. And we desperately want to prove to adults that we are grown up. But the way that we go, because that desperate need to grow up is part of growing up and part of being a kid, that inherently still kind of proves that we're kids and we're still teenagers. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't think you're proving your point the way you think you are, Daniel. Like, emotionally. Oh, shit. So, this is like such... The game is really driving home the same thing that it's been doing with these brothers the entire time. We have Daniel, who desperately wants to hang out with his brother. Just, that's what he wants. He wants to be close to his brother and hang out with his older brother because he's his older brother. And we have Sean, who wants his independence. He doesn't want to hang out with his younger brother all the time. But what's happening is that Daniel's acting out because he's not getting his way, and there's no dad to interfere anymore. Because dad used to run interference. Dad used to kind of like talk some sense into them, kind of encourage them to do things. That's not happening anymore. So they have to figure this shit out on their own. And this is what's happening. And Sean kind of uses some harsh language that I don't think really helps the conversation. Such as saying like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, just words that imply that something is wrong and there's something bad. And that can sometimes be a barrier to communicating. It doesn't make it easy to communicate when we come into a conversation and we are hearing that there is something already wrong, basically. But Daniel's a fucking teenager. Who would have taught him these things? How would he know? And I think that this is probably how he would talk to his friends. Like, this is the kind of language that we would use with friends, and it would be completely fine and nothing would be wrong with that. But he's using the same language with his brother, who might need a little more empathy. And Sean doesn't have enough experience with like talking to different people in different situations to kind of see that like this is a good time to adjust his language, because like he just doesn't have that experience. And we have Daniel, who desperately wants to be at a place that he will never be. He's never going to be his brother's age, but he desperately wants that. And then he doesn't know how to deal with this stuff, and he doesn't have anybody else to talk to except for Finn. And so we're seeing these little moments of acting out. I'm not a kid anymore. I guess I mentally picture that like a kid slamming the door, being like, I'm not angry, slam. And it's like, oh, you're not, huh? That's why I laugh so hard. I know it's not supposed to be that funny, but that's what I mentally pictured. I'm not angry, slam. Oh, honey. Ugh. At least they're in California where it's warmer, even if it's winter.
Tripped on a few words, but y'all are baked, so I'm good.
Good job, sis.
So beautiful.
Damn. Why you ain't rich and famous? I mean, you can hook us up.
That was cool, or I love your voice. I don't know.
Thanks, everyone. I take ass, cash, or grass. Hint, hint.
Sean, take a puff and pass it to your friend.
Please don't have this have consequences. I don't want to feel like I'm being pressured, like peer pressure, to smoke. Or there will be consequences. I don't want that. That doesn't sound great. That sounds awful. Sounds ridiculously awful. Please don't make me do this game. Oh my god. I think this character probably would smoke. In general. We saw all of that stuff in the room before, right? Pipes. The actual stuff. But I don't know if they would smoke in front of their brother. Because usually there's kind of this idea of like, well, I'm smoking because I'm a rebellious teenager, but like, you don't smoke. Society usually has that attitude towards alcohol and cigarettes and all of these other kinds of things. So I don't know if I think that Sean would smoke or not. There's probably an amount of peer pressure. If we are surrounded by people who are doing this thing, we kind of feel like we have to in order to fit in, even if they don't like overtly tell us, even if they don't directly say like, oh, you have to do this thing, we still feel that pressure to fit in. Sure.
Sure.
Oh shit, that
I'll
impacts our
take a hit.
brother. Fuck. This is gonna have consequences. Oh!
Daniel, no fucking way.
How come you can, but I can't?
Because I said so.
That is all for us. We must sleep.
Ah, there go the party animals. What is it, like 10 o'clock?
No worry, Finn. We'll party like rock stars tomorrow for our last night.
Come on, one more round.
Good night.
Sleep tight.
I should not have done that.
Jeez. I swear every time you play that song, Cass, I see my poor black flag. Oh, man. I'm sorry.
Who's Black Flag?
He was my dog back in Colorado until last year.
Yeah, something like that.
A year ago, we were hopping a train, just me, Finn, and Cass.
Daniel's
Black
gonna
flag.
smoke. That's what that means.
We got caught stealing some shit in some random town. Motherfuckers called the cops on us. Had to run for it. We saw that train from afar and went straight at it.
Or do I?
Cops right behind us. We barely made it. But nobody's able to get Black Flag.
Jesus.
Yeah, I see him chasing after the train, yapping at me. But I left him there. That's it. End of story. I hope the cops picked him up. Got him a better home. I think about that damn dog every day.
That's sad.
Here's to Black Flag.
Sorry about your pup, Hannah.
Fuck it. That's life. Or death. Yin and yang, right? Jeez. Sorry, I ruined the mood.
Don't worry, Hans. We can do worse. Let's hear everybody's worst memory. Fair and square.
Are you serious?
Why the fuck not? We all need to say our piece once in a while. Who's up?
Let's all just trade our trauma stories. No big deal. Well, do we choose from the dog, our dad, or Chris?
Any?
Cool. Bust out the violins. Check this out. Say hello to my little friend, Jinx. Met him dumpster diving in New Mexico. It was cool. The boy had issues. Mood swings, delirious, self-harm, fun shit like that. He seemed to get better with me. I think I loved him. He gave me this coin. Said he never gave his trust to no one before. We used to come here every now and then, hook up on cash, but he disappeared. A few miles north from here, in a pot farm just like this one. He went out one night, high as fuck, and zoomed. That was the last time I saw him. Now I gotta hold on to this fucking penny just in case.
Investigation, your name?
Wow. Wasn't there, like, an investigation?
No.
Something?
Fuck no. He didn't have no ID, no nothing. Cops don't give a fuck about us. I looked for him for a while, but I couldn't track him down.
That sucks, brother. Shit like that happens around here.
Plus, the guy needed medication.
Sure did. I just hope he's okay. Maybe I'll run into his crazy ass someday. Who knows? It's a small world. I'll hand him back the trust that he gave me.
All right. Bad vibes indeed. Can we do worse? Jake? Please?
Well, just don't laugh. I guess my worst memory is when I lost my faith.
Yeah, you mentioned it. What happened?
I used to be a sheep, a true believer. I was raised in Haven Point, Nevada, small community. We have this amazing reverend. People line up to listen to her.
Are we talking about religious
She's
trauma?
intense. But for some reason, things happened to me and I started doubting myself. It kind of escalated. People said I was trouble. I couldn't get the answers I was looking for. Even from my own folks.
I know the feeling.
I felt so lost. Wasn't sure what to believe anymore. So I left. I just needed to be alone for a while, you know? Find the truth by myself. I'm still looking for it.
Jacob, my son. Maybe we are the truth you were looking for.
I'm glad I found you guys. I don't know if I'll ever go back there. Not until I get a signal from God, at least.
I hope you can. Bet your family misses you a lot.
I miss them too. Just not the other stuff.
Families are complicated?
Family ties are a mess. Trust me. I know how that feels to be rejected.
Thank you, Sean. What about you, Cassidy? Your turn.
Pass. I already sang a song.
Figures. What about you, Sean? You obviously don't have to talk about that shit show back in Seattle. But if you have something else...
There's so much here. The negatives always stick out in our brain more than the positives. So of course these memories, which are most likely traumatic, of course they stick out, but we don't usually compare good times. We don't sit around a campfire and say, I have a happier memory than you have a happier memory. Like, we don't do that. We compare bad times like this, almost like who has the most traumatic experience. And there's a certain point where it feels like validating, like we're not the only ones who've gone through something horrible. But at the same time, sometimes stuff like that can make us feel like we are stuck in the past. Sometimes it's not the validating thing that we need. because then we just compare people. It's almost like saying, well, my cancer isn't, stage 4, so it doesn't matter. Like, we end up minimizing ourselves because our stuff, which is still heavy stuff, may not be as bad as someone else's, and that's not great. Nope, or yeah. Ooh,
How about me?
You're the man I was waiting for.
It's not only one bad memory, but they're all about my friends. I feel like I've let everyone down, like Noah and Lila from Seattle, and our doggy Mushroom was killed and taken away by a puma.
Oh, that's what that was?
Then I lost Chris because we had to run away again. He got hit by a car. I don't even know if he's all right. But more than anything, I miss my best friend, my dad.
Jesus, little man. That's hard.
I'm so sorry, Daniel.
I told you I'd win.
You didn't let anybody down. Life did.
Yeah. Life is a bitch. We can only go with the flow. Like a river. Yeah, that's why I'm not dragging around any bad memories.
Come on. Bull fucking
Oh, you
shit,
started this
man.
shit, bitch. Don't punk out now.
Yeah, listen, smartasses. I'm just saying you can't change the past. So you just gotta focus on what's next.
Very Hakuna Matata.
Memories are just lessons for the future.
The future, huh? What's your big plan, Prophet?
Wanna know what my plan is? Picture this. A kick-ass beach house in Costa Rica. Sunshine, feet in the sand, sweet ocean view. We'd be one big, fucked up, happy, dysfunctional family. We just chill and sing and drink cocktails out of coconuts. Only thing we need is a little cash along the way. And then, boom.
Jesus fucking Christ. That's your dream? Beach house and coconuts?
Oh, too boring for you?
This sounds like my folks' retirement plan to Florida. I don't need anything else than what we already have. Sure, we're working our asses right now, but we can beat it if we want. I'm not gonna settle down. No way. And that's how shit starts, you know? When you start having things of your own, things you have to defend. Property, land, family. What do you think you're missing out on now?
Coconut cocktail?
I'll agree to disagree, fucker.
Man, I'm too high for your shit. It's time to crash.
And penny goes down. Peace out, brother.
Night night. Looks like we still have some booze left. Who's in?
Oh, twist my arm.
A teeny tiny drink. And we need to talk about Sean's hippie hair. Boy needs a real haircut.
Oh, hell yes he does. Now it's your turn to get a trim. Karma.
I'll call it a day too. Night, everyone.
Hey, I'm wiped out. Are you ready for bed yet?
I feel like I am still processing all of those conversations. I really regret partaking of the smoking. I really regret smoking, that's the way to say it. Because if this game has taught me anything, it is that my choices come to bite me. And Daniel jumped all over that and was obviously like, well, if you're doing it, I'm doing it. He has a really hard time with this idea that adults have different rules and standards than kids. I say that, and yet I keep insisting that Sean is also a kid, but like, everybody treats Sean like he's an adult. So I'm going with that for a second. And this idea of having a hard time with how adults can live by different rules than kids is very much a teenager thing. He's a young budding teenager. Hooray! Confetti! This is a hard choice because I kind of want to do the haircut and like see what other random conversations will happen. Not random, but like we just shared a lot of trauma. Everybody just shared a lot of trauma. There might be some like trauma bonding that's happening. And Sean wants that independence. But more like we just shared a lot. What is going to happen if we just like continue to talk after sharing all that traumatic stuff? We have to have a lot of vulnerability for that. And there has to be some level of closeness for that to happen. But Daniel is obviously upset by the fact that we keep wanting to do our own thing. So I feel like if I don't go to bed with Daniel, he is going to be very unhappy. Like Daniel will remember that kind of a thing. Oh, it's a very difficult choice. This choice shouldn't be this difficult. Why don't I stop the video here? Fantastic place to end it. That way I can think about which choices and which might have consequences that I hate less than the others. So in this video, we've seen more about what the relationship between these two characters looks like now and like why it is that way. As far as Sean wanting to be independent, Daniel wanting to be closer to his brother, but also like how they express that, right? Because more and more Daniel's expressing his emotions, not with his words, but through his powers. And so when he's upset, he shows it with his powers. It's almost like because he's noticed that his powers get his brother's attention, he's going to use his powers because that gets his brother's attention, because he feels like using his words won't work. Because there was something in the very, very like first part of the game where he was like, oh, so-and-so is bullying me. And Sean was like, what? Why didn't you tell me that? And Daniel was like, I did. I tried to tell you, but you like didn't listen. You told me to fuck off. And so if there is a pattern of times in the past, like prior to the game's occurrences happening, where Daniel has tried to share with his brother and didn't feel validated, then it would make sense that he would just use his powers because Sean fucking notices the powers. Sean's the only one who knows about the powers. So of course he's going to notice, especially if we are hyper focused on keeping the power secret. We're going to notice. So, you know, why use words when powers get more attention? I feel like that's what we're seeing. So Sean is like, oh, you're throwing these fits, but we do everything for a reason. We do everything for a purpose, and we're seeing that here. Both of these characters' perspectives are understandable, though. There's not one person who's right and one person who's wrong. I would love to hear your thoughts on the video and the game, and I will see you next time.